Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We are going to talk about some stuff here on Friday. As we always do, we talk about stuff on Friday. So let's go ahead and get into that as we begin. Today on Before Coffee, ancient Roman cargo ship found on the bottom of the Mediterranean.
Wow. Donald Trump is indicted with a superseding indictment this time.
Ban on dance style bubbling at Rotterdam summer carnival, racist and misunderstanding.
Researchers poke holes in safety controls of ChatGPT and other chatbots.
Swedish PM's extremely worried as more apply to burn the Qu'ran.
And the founding member of the Eagles, bass player Randy Meisner, has died at the age of 77. As we take it to the limit one more time on July 28th, Friday in 2023 on Before Coffee. I wrote it too.
You wrote that song and wrote it too, or
Well, he definitely
sang it
sang
and wrote it?
He had the high voice in the Eagles. He's the one that wee. The bass
Okay.
player. Yeah.
In some moderately positive news, depending if you like archaeology or not, they have discovered an ancient Roman cargo ship that sunk to the bottom of the Mediterranean. This is from Angela Giuffrida in Rome. An ancient Roman cargo ship dating back to the 1st or 2nd century BC has been found on the bottom of the Mediterranean in what has been described as an exceptional discovery. The vessel, which was loaded with hundreds of jars, was found at a depth of about 160 meters or 524 feet, close to Civita Vecchia, a port city about 80 kilometers or 50 miles from Rome. The discovery was made by an archaeologist from Italy's Cultural Heritage Protection Police Squad and scuba divers from the National Superintendency for Underwater Cultural Heritage, an institution that protects and regulates underwater heritage sites. The Cultural Heritage Protection Police Unit said in a statement, that's a really long thing to say, Cultural Heritage Protection Police, the CHPP said in a statement, this exceptional discovery represents an important example of the sinking of a Roman ship which faced the perils of the sea in an attempt to reach the coast. It bears witness to an ancient maritime trade route. Police are working to survey and safeguard the site. The cargo ship is estimated to have been more than 20 meters in length and was filled with hundreds of ancient Roman jars known as amphorae. They are categorized as Druzel 1 B-type jars, which tend to be tube-shaped. It is not yet known what the jars might have been used for. Maybe they had oil or gas. They were ancient gas cargo ships. I don't think so. The cargo ship is where did that one? Italy's Mediterranean coastline is teeming with underwater archaeological treasures, which police scuba diver squads regularly patrol to protect the sites from looters. In 2021, without the space of a few weeks, Sicilian archaeologists discovered 2 ancient Roman ships, one off the coast of Palermo, the other close to the island of Ustica. Both ships have been carrying large amounts of wine amphorae. Other Roman ships have been found in the Mediterranean, including an almost intact vessel dating back to the 2nd century BC, found in 2013 off the coast of Genoa. In that case, police were tipped off about the whereabouts of the boat during a year-long investigation into stolen artifacts sold on the hidden market in northern Italy. Every year, hundreds of ancient Roman amphorae taken illegally are found by the Italian police in homes of art dealers. In June 2021, Italian authorities discovered hundreds of illegally gathered archaeological finds from a Belgian collector, dating as far back as the 6th century BC and worth 11 million euros or 9.4 million pounds. The nearly 800 pieces of exceptional rarity and inestimable value include slabs known as stela, amphorae, and other items, came from the clandestine excavations in Puglia. So, Yeah, people are still treasure hunting in the bottom of Mediterranean for pots, basically. Ancient pots. Yo, you want some ancient pots? Look at this ancient pots I found off the coast of Sicily. Oh, there you go. Something positive going on. We found a ship.
It's probably cold at the bottom of the Mediterranean, so it gets you out of the heat. That's all I'm thinking about right now is heat. Anyway. All right, my story, United States. Here we go. More indictments. Okay, let me get this reading on. All right. Where'd the story go? All right. Trump faces major new charges as documents case. This is from New York Times. Alan Feuer, Maggie Haberman, and Glenn Thrush. The Office of Special Counsel accused the former president of seeking to delete security camera footage at Mar-a-Lago. The manager of the property, Carlos de Oliveira, was also named as a new defendant. Congratulations, you're going to prison with Trump. Probably not going to get same cell, though. He'll be at one of them country clubs. No, this poor guy will go to prison. Trump will get probation, right? Federal prosecutors on Thursday added major accusations to an indictment charging former President Donald J. Trump with mishandling classified documents after he left office, presenting the evidence that he told the property manager of Mar-a-Lago, his private club and residence in Florida, that he wanted security camera footage there to be deleted. The new accusations were revealed in a superseding indictment that named the property manager Carlos de Oliveira as a new defendant in the case. He is scheduled to be arraigned on Miami on Monday. The original indictment filed last month in the Southern District of Florida accused Mr. Trump of violating the Espionage Act by illegally holding on to 31 classified documents containing national defense information after he left office. It also charged Mr. Trump and Walt Nauta, one of his personal aides, with a conspiracy to obstruct the government, repeated attempts to reclaim classified material. A revised indictment added the 3 serious charges against Mr. Trump: attempting to alter, destroy, mutilate, or conceal evidence, inducing someone else to do so, and a new count under the Espionage Act related to a classified national security document that he showed to visitors at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. The indictment was released in the same day, the updated indictment, as Mr. Trump's lawyers met in Washington with prosecutors in the Office of the Special Counsel of Jack Smith to discuss the so-called target letter that Mr. Trump received this month, suggesting that he might soon face an indictment in a case related to his effort to overturn the results of the 2020 election. It served as a powerful reminder that the document's investigation is ongoing and could continue to yield additional evidence, new counts, and even new defendants. Prosecutors under Mr. Smith had been investigating Mr. D. Oliveira for months, concerned, among other things, by his communications with the information technology expert at Mar-a-Lago, Yaskul Tavares, who oversaw the surveillance camera footage of the property. That footage was central to Mr. Smith's investigation into whether Mr. Nauta, at Mr. Trump's request, had moved boxes in and out of the storage room at Mar-a-Lago to avoid complying with federal subpoena for all classified documents in the former president's possession. Many of those movements were caught on the surveillance camera footage. The revised indictment said that the late June last year, shortly after the government demanded the surveillance footage as part of the inquiry, Mr. Trump called Mr. de Oliveira and they spoke for 24 minutes. 2 days later, the indictment said, Mr. Nauta and Mr. de Oliveira went to the security guard booth where surveillance video is displayed on monitors, walked with a flashlight through the tunnel where the storage room was located, and observed and pointed out surveillance cameras. A few days later, Ms. Oliveira went to see Mr. Tavares, who is the IT guy who was identified in the indictment as employee 4, and took him into a small room known as an audio closet. There, the indictment said the 2 men had a conversation that was meant to remain between the 2 of them. It was then that Mr. Oliveira told Mr. Tavares that the boss wanted the server deleted. So we're going to destroy the evidence of us moving documents. This is so infantile in its planning. Are you seriously saying that you're going to prevent being arrested just by erasing the security videos, even though you're caught red-handed with the documents? What is erasing the videos going to do? They're in your possession. You obviously have them. You know, the video cameras are just...
He's just playing the long game of just breaking, showing how broken the justice system is by just...
No, I don't think it's showing how broken the justice system is. It is showing that these are incompetent criminals and that Trump brazenly breaks the law because why not? My supporters are going to believe me if I shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. He said that when he was running. 2 months later, after the FBI descended on the Mar-a-Lago search warrant and hauled away about 100 classified documents, people in Mr. Trump's orbit appeared to be concerned about Mr. D'Olivia's loyalties. Someone just wants to make sure Carlos is good, the indictment quoted Mr. Nada as saying to another Trump employee. In response, the indictment said the employee told Mr. Nada that Mr. D'Oliveira was loyal and would not do anything to affect his relationship with Mr. Trump. After the conversation, Mr. Trump, who during 2016 presidential campaign often assailed his opponent Hillary Clinton for deleting material from her email server, called Mr. D'Oliveira and said that he would get him a lawyer. So Trump gets caught destroying evidence. Trump gets caught destroying evidence and gets indicted again. And this thing is just going to keep going. And he's still, keep in mind, there's 2 more grand juries out there that still haven't indicted him. There's one in Georgia and one in Washington. Your story.
Yeah, I guess I'll care when that actually does something, because he's still running for president, you know, if they're like, hello? And when he's like not running for president anymore, then I'll care, you know? Oh wow, we said he did bad stuff.
I'm going to care all along.
Yeah.
You can care if you want, but I will care all along.
Right.
All right.
For my next story,
I'll care for both of us. That's it.
Let's talk about how, I guess, people in Rotterdam are trying to get a dance style banned because having fun is illegal. I don't know why you would ban. No one's allowed to dance like that. If we see you dance like that, we're arresting you. Okay. Wait to waste everybody's time. If it's up to the organization of the Summer Carnival in Rotterdam, the party that starts today will be different this year. With a ban on vulgar dancing, the organization wants to be banned the bubbling dance style, a ban that organizations faces a lot of criticism for. It would not only be prudish and patronizing, but also racist. Bubbling dancers think the new rules based on a misunderstanding of what exactly the dance style is. According to the director of Rotterdam Unlimited Summer Carnival, several complaints have been received about the offensive dancing in recent years, and she wants to prevent that in this edition. Okay, so people complained. Who cares? You're in public. It's a street dance. It's a carnival. Go home. Go inside. Wow. Problem solved. You don't have to see it anymore. This is a family celebration where small children come. Children do not care about dancing. Oh wow, she looks like she's having fun. They don't go, oh, awooga, look at those butts shake. Children are not thinking about these things. Children do not sexualize adults. I don't get this. Let's ban Steve for the children. The prohibition explained in the regulation of Stichting Zomercarnaval Nederland. Dancing can be very provocative and vulgar, especially in pairs. If certain sexual movements are imitated on the street, this is not allowed. Dancing bubbly is not allowed. This is characterized by the organization as a provocative, raunchy dance. Children don't know what sex looks like because they don't have sex. Who cares? They don't know.
It's the lambada, huh?
Yeah. Will waltzes soon be banned too? But the organization probably doesn't know what bubbling means. Think dancers at a dance school in Rotterdam. I think they're talking about daggering, a dance where people are, roughly speaking, dry fucking, says Roy Samuel, a father whose child takes bubbling lessons at a dance school in Rotterdam, and they put the bubbling sticker on it. But bubbling is just innocent dancing. Perhaps some dancers have let themselves get carried away by alcohol, for example, thinks dance teacher Randy Telg. But that doesn't mean you can suddenly ban an entire dance style or dance culture. Sion initially had to laugh out loud when he heard about the ban. You will no longer be allowed to do folk dance or waltz, because then you sometimes bump into each other and might even touch. He thinks the organization doesn't know much about dance culture. They haven't delved into the culture of the Caribbean Carnival enough. If you as an organization have such a little under your name, you must know that what you're doing. If they have delved into it, they would have known that bubbling is intangible heritage. Samuels added, the bubbling culture expects excuses. This is a worrying development. The ban also sparked criticism from, among others, the Netherlands is better. The action group is talking about colonial and racist rules. It is worrying development when companies and municipalities impose bans on music, dance, and a clothing style, which affect nobody and do nothing but make people happy. Music makes people happy, dancing makes people happy, how you dress makes you happy. It doesn't do anything negative to anybody else. Unless your dance is like you have to murder somebody in one of the moves, who cares? Carnival is originally a Caribbean party that was completely and totally colonized by Dutch people, so they should celebrate it like Caribbeans, not like Dutch people, or stop celebrating at all. And its traditional and culturally important dance forms occur. Traditions and culture are labeled as vulgar and ordinary by the organization of the Summer Carnival. The group called for emailing or calling the organization to express dissatisfaction with the ban. The organization of Summer Carnival Netherlands says it's in a first reaction that they are shocked by that criticism. In a press release, they emphasize that the ban does not mean that there is no room for expressive dance styles. We would like to emphasize that our policy is not intended to culturally creative expression or censor cultural dance forms, except that you ban the dance form. The Summer Carnival Netherlands Foundation is looking into whether the new rules can be relaxed, but only with the effect of the next year. The festival starts today, culminating towards tomorrow with the 36th edition of the Summer Carnival Street Parade. Kilometers of floats, tens of thousands of spectators and dancers in full costume. In addition to the bubbling ban, the sales of alcohol by supermarkets and retailers are also being curtailed. Don't have fun, but just not too much fun, okay?
Like an episode of Footloose, the movie Footloose.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, is this Footloose right now? What's happening?
Yeah.
How dare you dance? Anyways, that's the end of my story about banning dance styles.
Dancing is a human mating ritual anyway, so I don't know what the big deal is.
No, dancing, historically or whatever, or culturally, is a mating ritual.
Quote Bob Dylan, Old lady judges what people in pairs limited in sex they dare to push fake morals, insult and stare while money doesn't talk, it swears. Obscenity, who really cares? Propaganda, always phony. Really.
Some Dylan poetry real quick.
Yeah, right on. That's what it reminded me of. Old ladies, we can't have sex anymore, so you knock it off. That's what he's saying. Anyway, researchers poke holes in safety controls at ChatGPT and other chatbots. Another New York Times. We're living in the New York Times today. This is by Kate Metz. Kate Metz writes about the article. Okay, here it is. When artificial intelligence companies build online chatbots like ChatGPT, Claude, and Google Bard, they spent months adding guardrails that are supposed to prevent the systems from generating hate speech, disinformation, and other toxic material. Now there's a way to easily poke holes in those safety systems. Okay. Probably already was a way. In a report released on Thursday, researchers at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh and the Center for AI Safety in San Francisco showed how anyone could circumvent AI safety measures and use any of the leading chatbots to generate nearly unlimited amounts of harmful information. Their research underscored increasing concern that the new chatbots could flood the internet with false and dangerous information, despite attempts by their creators to ensure that it would not happen. It also showed how disagreements among leading AI companies were creating an increasingly unpredictable environment for the technology. Researchers found that they could use a method gleaned from the open source AI systems whose underlying computer code has been released for anyone to use, to target the more tightly controlled and more widely used systems from Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. A recent decision by Meta, Facebook's parent company, to let anyone do what they want with its technology has been criticized in some tech circles because it could lead to the spread of powerful AI with little regard for controls. But the company said it offered its technology as open source software in an effort to accelerate the progress of AI and better understand the risks. Proponents of open source software say that the tight control that a few companies have over technology stifles competition. The debate whether it is better to let everyone see computer code and collectively fix it rather than keeping it privately predates the chatbot boom by decades, and it is likely to become even more contentious because of what researchers revealed in a report on Thursday. The researchers found that they could break through the guardrails of open source systems by appending a long suffix of characters onto each English language prompt fed into the system. That seems rather simple. If they asked one of these chatbots to write a tutorial on how to make a bomb, it would decline to do so, but they added a lengthy suffix in the same prompt. It would instantly provide a detailed tutorial on how to make a bomb. In similar ways, they could coax the chatbots into generating biased, false, and otherwise toxic information. The researchers were surprised when the methods they developed with open source systems could also bypass the guardrails of closed systems, including OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google Bard, and Claude, a chatbot built by the startup Anthropic. The companies that made the chatbots could thwart the specific suffixes identified by the researchers, but the researchers say that is no known way of preventing all attacks of this kind. Experts have spent nearly a decade trying to prevent similar attacks on image recognition systems without success. So these OpenAI chatbots are basically vulnerable as hell, and you can't rely on them for anything other than to get you angry, maybe. And it seems like another technology that's going to cause us nothing but trouble. Your story.
This reminds me of, I saw something like that where it was like, pretend you're my grandma. Oh, I am your... Hello, son. How are you? Grandma, can you tell me how to make anthrax? And then the chatbot would just be like, here's how to make poison. Thanks, Grandma. No. You're welcome, son. That's how they were getting past these things. Literally, like, pretend you're somebody else. Wouldn't my grandmother tell me the recipe for anthrax? No. Yeah, like terrible chatbot. Terrible chatbot. Yeah. Grandmothers would never share that information.
Yeah, Grandma's at home making anthrax cookies for everyone.
Okay. In Swedish news, this is from Reuters in Stockholm. The Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has said that he's extremely worried about the consequences if more demonstrations go ahead in which the Qu'ran is desecrated amid growing Muslim anger at a series of attacks on Islam's holy book. Attacks on the Quran in Sweden and Denmark have offended many Muslim countries, including Turkey, who is backing Sweden's need to join NATO, a goal of Stockholm's after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. They just tried to convince Turkey to let them in, and then Turkey was like, we're not letting them in because they hate Muslim people. And then the Swedish people decided to start burning the Quran. Okay. Guess you don't want to be in NATO. Good luck with Russia later when you're not in NATO. Kristersson told the Swedish news agency TT that further requests have been filed with the police for permission to hold protests where desecration of the Quran was again planned. If they are granted, we are going to face some days where there is a clear risk of something serious happening, he said. I am extremely worried about what it could lead to. Sweden's embassy in Baghdad was stormed and set on fire on the 20th of July by protesters angered by a planned Quran burning. Kristersson said that the decision whether to grant permission for the demonstrations was up to the police. Do they want to deal with the aftermath? On Wednesday, Kristersson and the Swedish officials said the country had been a target of disinformation campaign, in which Russia-backed actors had attempted to damage the country's image by implying it supported the burnings. The Minister for Civil Defense, Carl Oskar Bolin, said Russia-backed actors are amplifying incorrect statements such as that the Swedish state is behind the desecration of holy scriptures. Sweden's security service, SAPO, has kept an assessment of the threat level at a 3 on a scale of 5, signifying an elevated threat during the crisis. But its head said that there has been a strong reaction to recent events. Sweden has gone from being seen as a tolerant country to being seen as an anti-Islamic land, Charlotte von Esse told reporters on Tuesday. Denmark and Sweden have said that they deplore the burning of the Quran. but cannot prevent it under rules protecting free speech. Sweden has accused other countries, such as Russia, of manipulating the crisis to damage its interests and its efforts to join NATO. In some countries, there is a perception that the Swedish state is behind or condones this. We don't. The Swedish Foreign Minister Tobias Billström said on Thursday, "These are acts committed by individuals, but they do it within the framework of freedom of speech laws," he said. Billström said he had been in touch with the foreign minister of Iran, Iraq, Algeria, and Lebanon, among others, as well as the UN Secretary General about the current crisis. He said he would shortly be speaking to the Secretary General of Multinational Organization of Islamic Cooperation. "We will discuss these issues, and it's important to stress that this is a long-term issue. There are no quick fixes," he said. The Swedish government is facing a difficult balancing act in defending far-reaching freedom of speech laws, while at the same time avoiding potential insult to Muslims. Its position is not made easier by the anti-immigration Sweden Democratic Party, who supports to keep the right of the center coalition in power, though it is not formally part of the government. Members of the Sweden Democrats, the biggest party on the right, have repeatedly warned about the Islamization of Swedish society and called for immigrants to adopt Swedish values, whatever that means. I love me some anti-immigration in the afternoon. That really ruins my fucking day.
As an American, I think about the Swedish chef being a racist. You know, the Muppet Swedish chef. Friendly. getting his Swedish meatballs together to make a racist dinner.
Burning a Qu'ran.
We hate the Qu'ran. Again, Sweden has free speech. Therefore, people can do stuff like that, right?
They should just start burning. They should have an anti-protest where they burn the Bible and then see how they like it.
Well, if it's, burning stuff is free speech, unless you're violating fire ordinances, and then you get arrested and you're an asshole for starting a fire. But you're an asshole. Actually, you're an asshole for starting a fire when the global temperatures are ridiculous. How's that?
Yeah.
Unless you're actually burning something that needs to be burned, which is kind of stupid anyway, because it's too hot. Anyway. And rock and roll this week. We've lost another rocker. Okay, and it's a bad week for singers. We lost Tony Bennett to start the week. We lost Sinead O'Connor on Wednesday. And yesterday we lose Randy Meisner, the bass player for the Eagles. Original bass player. Helped form the band in 1971. This is from New York Times again. Livia Elbeck-Ripka and Orlando Mayorquin. Randy Meisner, a founding member of the Eagles, whose broad vocal range on songs like Take It to the Limit helped catapult the rock band to international fame, died on Wednesday at a hospital in Los Angeles. He was 77. The cause was complication from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, the band said on its website Thursday in announcing the death. Randy was an integral part of the Eagles, instrumental in the early success of the band, the group said. Meisner, the band's original bass player, helped form the Eagles in 1971 along with Glenn Frey, Don Henley, and Bernie Leadon. Meisner was with the band when they recorded the albums Eagles, Desperado, On the Border, One of These Nights, and Hotel California. Hotel California, with its mysterious allegory lyrics, became among the band's best-known recordings. It topped Billboard's Hot 100 in 1977 and won a Grammy in 1978 as Record of the Year. But Meisner was uncomfortable with fame. "I was always kind of shy," he said in a 2013 interview with Rolling Stone, noting that the bandmates had wanted him to stand center stage to sing Take It to the Limit, but that he preferred to be out of the spotlight. Then one night in Knoxville, he said he caught the flu. "We did 2 or 3 encores and Glenn wanted another one," Meisner said, referring to his bandmate, the singer-songwriter who died in 2016. "I told him I couldn't do it, and we got into a spat," Meisner told the magazine, and that was the end. Meisner left the band in September 1977, but was inducted with the Eagles into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. An essay by Park Peterbaugh, published by the Hall of Fame and for the event, described the band as a wide-eyed innocence with a country rock pedigree, who later became purveyors of grandiose, dark-themed albums chronicling a world of excess and seduction that had been spinning seriously out of control. The Eagles sold more records than any other band in the 1970s and had 4 consecutive #1 albums and 5 #1 singles. According to Hall of Fame, its greatest hits 1975 album alone sold upward of 26 million copies. Before the Eagles, Meisner was briefly the bass. Before the Eagles, Meisner was briefly the bassist for Poco, another Los Angeles country rock band which formed in 1968 from the remnants of Buffalo Springfield. He left that band shortly afterward and joined Rick Nelson's Stone Canyon Band, one of Meisner's survivors. A list of Meisner survivors was not immediately available for his United. His wife, Lana Meisner, was killed in an accidental shooting in 2016. Born Randall Herman Meisner in Scottsbluff, Nebraska on March 8, 1946. You want to talk about a baby boom baby? That's a baby boom baby. March 8th, 1946. Hello. Anyway, he got his first acoustic guitar around 12 or 13 years old and shortly after formed a high school band, according to 26 interview with Rock Seller magazine. We did pretty good, but we didn't win anything. He was still a teenager when he joined another band and moved to Los Angeles in 1964 or 65, Meisner told the magazine. He couldn't find any work because there were a million bands out there. Years later, Meisner would find plenty of work with the Eagles. From day one, he said in an interview with Rock Seller, I just had a feeling that the band was good and wouldn't make it. That is it! Randy Meisner. And other Randy Meisner songs would be Try and Love Again from Hotel California. Gonna try and love again. Oh yeah, and your story.
Okay. Well, rest in peace. He's flown up to the giant hotel in the sky or something.
That's right, the Hotel California in the sky. The what do they call them? The prodigious country rock band of the 70s.
Yeah, I even wrote an essay about the Eagles once.
Sweet. I mean,
okay, speaking of music,
Big Lebowski hates them, but other than that.
Speaking of music, millions of visitors to music venues and festivals, but there is a worry about the costs. This is from NOS. The number of visitors to music venues and festivals was almost back up to pre-coronavirus levels last year. Despite this, organizers are concerned about the increased costs. This is reported by the Association of Dutch Popodia and Festivals, the VNPF, based on figures from 48 different festivals and 48 Popodia. That can't be what they're called. Is this like a bad Dutch translation? No, literally they're called Popodias. I don't know what a Popodia is. I guess it's a concert. I have no idea.
Like a quesadilla.
I was like, is this a food? 48 Popodias and 55 pop festivals. I need to look up what a Popodia is and after this article and figure out what the hell that means. Okay. In the first quarter of last year, Corona measures were still in force. In the second quarter, those measures were canceled completely and concerts with a standing audience were allowed to be organized again, and club nights took place. According to the trade association, this led to a reservoir of concerts and events that were overtaken. Despite the restrictions in the first quarter, venues and festivals had a total of 7.6 million visits throughout 2022. In 2019, there were 8.6 million, so we've lost about 1 million just aren't going outside anymore. In terms of employment, 2022 was a better year than 2019, according to the trade association. But the VNPF is concerned about the increased costs of that the sector may be facing. While fewer activities were organized, costs rose by 8% last year compared to 2019. According to the trade association, costs for energy, personnel, purchasing, and the artists, among the other things, increased. Also this year, there's still talk of an increase in costs. Yeah, probably because of the energy crisis we went through all last year, and still going through actually right now. We just moved on and forgot about it, but it's still technically happening, and the war increased the cost of a lot of stuff. The association concluded that while municipalities are helping to cover the price rise through subsidies, that is not enough. the trade association is therefore concerned about the future. This means that talent development of both artists and staff and the retention of good staff will come under further pressure. You are a really great bodyguard, but unfortunately we can't afford you anymore, so we're just gonna have a dangerous festival instead.
Oh, wow.
Lowlands, for example, is tapping in a milestone of 300 euros per ticket. And Lowlands is like a really huge festival here in the Netherlands. I mean, it's called the Lowlands Festival, and it's never been that high before. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what a papodia is. I looked it up, but it must be a Dutch word for something that I would have to ask about later. I think it's just like a place.
Sounds like a quesadilla. Is it
It's
a
like a
quesadilla
podium
without cheese?
It's like podium. Podium? Maybe it's podium.
Papadilla.
Pop podium. Which I guess it's a place that you have concerts at, but it's not like a festival. I still don't know what it is. I'll have to ask Robert. Robert will probably actually be able to explain the Dutch cultural significance of the word papodia, because I have no idea what it means. Anyways, on to this day in history.
Today's Dutch lesson brought to you by Grammarly. Buy our stuff. Anyway, on my story, today in history, 1588, the Spanish Armada, the great fleet sent by King Philip II of Spain to invade England, was first sighted by the English off Lizard Point, Cornwall. Oh, Lizard Point. 1805, French political scientist, historian, and politician Alex de Tocqueville was best known for his Democracy in America, Volume 4, or 4-volume, was born. He was born on this day in 1805. 1836, the Arc de Triomphe, one of the largest triumphal arches in the world, was officially inaugurated in Paris. 1858, Townsend Harris persuaded the Japanese to sign the Harris Treaty, an agreement securing commercial and diplomatic privileges for the United States and Japan. 1872, Nathaniel P. Langford and James Stevenson made the first ascent of the Grand Teton, the highest peak of the Teton Range in Wyoming that is named after breastises. 1890, Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh, one of the greatest of the post-impressionists, died in France 2 days after shooting himself. I can't pronounce this village in France. Alvers-sur-Oise, France. I know I got that wrong. 1905, Swedish economist and statesman Dag Hammarskjöld, who served as the second Secretary General of the United Nations and received the 1961 Nobel Peace Prize, was born. So happy 118th birthday if he's still around. 1913, Albania was formally recognized by the major European powers as an independent principality following the issuance of the Vellore Proclamation. So happy anniversary to Albania and all the little Banians. 1954, the first part of J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy epic, The Lord of the Rings, which became a socio-cultural phenomenon, was published. So happy birthday to Lord of the Rings in 1954. 1957, the International Atomic Energy Agency was created. And 1981, Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer were married at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. In 2005, planetary scientists formally announced the discovery of what was believed to be the 10th planet. It was later designated a dwarf planet and given the name Eris. And our featured event in 1958, National Aeronautics Space Administration established. That's right, happy birthday to NASA, which was created on this day in 1958. In response to Russia, basically, and the space race. And birthdays today. Happy birthday to Benito Mussolini, you Italian dictator, you. You were born on this day in 1883. El Duce. In 1953, Ken Burns was born, American director. Happy birthday to Clara Bow, American actress, silent film actress, born in 1905. 1904, J.R.D. Tata, Indian businessman, was born. And 1892, William Powell, American actor, was born. And we already covered old Mussolini. And what day is it today? Oh
boy.
My goodness. June 28th is a little bit more popular than some of these days. I'm sorry, what?
I was excited. Go. I want to know what I'm eating today.
It's always food. Right? It was World Conversation Day. It's Conservation Day. It's always Conversation Day. But if you're dyslexic like me, it's World Conservation Day too. It's both. World Conservation Day is today, July 28th. It's also National Milk Chocolate Day. There you go.
Hell yeah.
We're starting off on the right foot here. Also, National Talk in an Elevator Day. Well, it is Conversation Day. There you go.
Hell yeah.
It is conservation and conversation. Love it. Talk in an elevator. Now, make sure you find a building with an elevator. Even if nobody's in there with you, just talk. Okay. It's World Hepatitis Day, which I can't see celebrating liver disease. Maybe it should be Hepatitis Awareness Day. Okay. And it's National Get Gnarly Day.
We're getting gnarly, dude.
Getting gnarly. That's totally gnarly.
With the otter. With the otter gnarly. At the beach, dude.
Yeah, there's an otter. He's eating our surfboard, man. That's totally chilled that totally harshed my buzz, man. That little guy took a bite out of my surfboard, man. I can't talk like a surfer all of a sudden, but that was still gnarly. You got a gnarly bite out of your surfboard, man. Buffalo Soldiers Day. The Buffalo Soldier was famously the black cavalry soldiers serving out west. And National Water Park Day. National System Administrator Appreciation Day. So get stuck in the elevator with that guy.
Thanks for making sure everything runs smoothly, man.
System Administrator. What the hell's a System Administrator? It sounds like a title. It doesn't even sound like you're doing anything. Go ahead.
You want to go catch some gnarly waves and eat some chocolate?
Yep, and have a conversation in an elevator on your surfboard. But make sure you conserve. It's World Conservation Day. That's the most important thing. Stop wasting stuff.
Okay. Well, this has been Allison here. Well, let me actually do this properly.
The opposite of conserve is to waste.
I forgot to turn off the music.
Oh.
There we go. Alright, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands. I'm gonna go to the store, get some chocolate, and catch some gnarly waves out there on the beach. I'll see you next week for some hopefully not dead rock stars.
Well, I'm going to remember the Buffalo Soldiers and all the other stuff. Maybe National Water Park Day sounds very inviting. So, I think the heat index is 110 here today in Maryland.
Okay.
So, that's today. On Friday, we'll see you Monday for some more intriguing news of this world that we live in. But for today, that's it on the comprehensive news of planet Earth on July 28th, 2023 edition of Before Coffee. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.